Good morning, everyone. So last week we had our annual Collars versus Scholars Classic, our yearly softball game where the priests and the seminarians come together to duke it out. We sported matching jerseys, pants, and hats, and played in front of a rather large crowd that for some reason decided to watch a bunch of men way past their athletic prime to make fools of themselves. At least that's how I saw it. Last year, I pulled a hamstring in my very first at-bat of the game and walked with a limp for the next couple of weeks. This year, I didn't get hurt, but I was quite sore for a few days. Last year, the priests beat the seminarians. This year, the result was a little different, and I will go no further in talking about it. As I was out there playing center field, I was kind of brought back to my high school days of playing baseball and getting very competitive and passionate. Here in the parish, things are pretty smooth sailing, not a lot of emotion. But once I get on the ball field, everything kind of changes. I don't think I've ever yelled at other priests as much as I did out there on the softball field. But we celebrated a lot of runs. We also commiserated in our frustrations at letting the game just kind of slip slowly and fade out of reach. But I bring up this softball story because it reiterates the lesson, I think, that Jesus is communicating to us in the gospel today. Specifically for me, a lesson about priesthood. Because you see, we priests on the softball team, we had to work together as a team. We don't usually have that experience. We had to strategize, had to encourage one another, had to get on each other's case, like, hey, quit making all these errors. But usually in the parish, things are a little bit different. Because in the parish, the priest is used to being the only one who is the priest on staff, where you call the shots, where there's not really someone there to bounce ideas off of, specifically another priest. There's not someone to challenge you or hold you in check, because most of you were raised in an era where you never question a priest. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not good. And so for me, we're used to having to go at ministry kind of alone. Not lonely, but alone. But this is not the model of ministry that Jesus gives to his followers today. Because you see, in the gospel today, he sends his disciples to go from town to town, share the good news of salvation, heal the sick, and let the people know that God's kingdom is here. Does Jesus send his disciples out alone? No. That little detail that we might have missed. Jesus sent them out 2 by 2 to go to the surrounding villages. Why? Because when you're with somebody else, there's always someone there to hold you accountable, someone to encourage you, and someone to take the edge off. We call that strength in numbers. Think of the early figures of the church who ministered in pairs. Right after Jesus' time, the Acts of the Apostles, you had Peter and John ministering together. You had Paul and Barnabas ministering together. You had Priscilla and Aquila. Think of all of the other many missionaries in the church who didn't go out alone. They always had either someone else or a group around them. There's wisdom to it. Because what happens when you work together in ministry? Let me give you a few examples of how this works out in my own experience. This past week, I was at a conference retreat with about 30 other priests from around the country. Some were my age, some were twice my age or older. We had the whole spectrum of those who were in ministry for a short while, all the way to those who were nearly retired. We prayed a lot together, we ate meals together, we had strong discussions, we kind of got in each other's face sometimes about how to do ministry in the parish. What's the most prudent way to do that? But we lifted each other up, we challenged each other, and we encouraged each other to live out our call to holiness. It's almost as if the laborers in the vineyard need to take some time off to lift each other up and to spend time together. Here's another example. For the last 3.5 years, I have been the only priest on staff here at the parish. Father Bill, as you know, is not on staff here, and it's only here for Sunday Mass. So I've had to make decisions without working alongside another priest. But now, as you got to hear before Mass, all of that has changed. Father Alex began his assignment here this past week. A newly ordained priest would never be sent out to take over a parish by himself. Why? Because that would not be smart. Instead, you are sent to a place where there's already a pastor in place. You get to learn the ropes, get to bounce ideas back and forth. And the same thing goes for me. It's helpful to have another priest to walk alongside me in ministry, to challenge me when that needs to happen, to offer a different perspective, and to relate to things that really only a priest can understand. Here's another example of what strength in numbers looks like. For those of you who are unaware, our parish has produced 2 seminarians in the last 2 years. That is, young men who are studying for the priesthood. Last year we had Roy enter. This year we will have Nathan from our parish going to the seminary. There will be about 70 young men at that particular school who are also striving to grow in virtue, who are also trying to figure out God's will for their lives, who also need someone alongside them to lift them up, to remind them God is calling you to this. Don't let your weaknesses prevent you from being confident. Don't let anything that you have done or your sense of I'm not worthy for this prevent you from seeing God's action within you. Strength in numbers. When you're all by yourself, it's easy to get discouraged. You get stuck in your head and you forget where God is leading you. But when you have others at your side striving for the same goal, you get encouraged, you get lifted up, and you're challenged to strive for even more. But that's the priesthood, right? I could be up here giving you examples from my life all day. But what about you? What about all of you? Lots of people think that priests are lonely, but I can tell you that's not true. I am around people all the time. Each week I get together with a group of priest friends, and we do the same thing as I just explained, kind of lifting each other up, sharing ministry experiences, telling each other that was not smart to do, or saying that's a great idea to do. But I think that most Americans have a problem when it comes to not having someone around you to lift you up, to support you. The American Time Use Survey found that in the last 20 years, the amount of time that Americans spend with another person has decreased by 20%. So if you used to spend 5 hours a day with other people, then on average that has gone down to about 4 hours a day. Americans are more alone than ever before. You don't have people around you to lift you up, support you, or challenge you. And experts call this the great friendship collapse. There's data to back that up. So last year, 43% of adults said they reported feeling more anxious than the year before. 6 out of 10 single adults said that they were not looking for relationship or dates. And the Global Flourishing Study found that of all young adults, 19%, so 1 in 5, of young adults said they had no one they could count on for social support. Experts say one reason for this is that it doesn't just happen to us, we choose to spend less time with others. One of the reasons is our addiction to our screens, right? So our smartphones, which causes us to deplete our emotional energy reserves so that we don't have the energy anymore to want to be around other people. And so we become content with being alone when we should be out there, spending time with other people, being lifted up. But if we go back to what Jesus does in the gospel, there is wisdom to having someone at your side, because you're not stuck up here. It's not all on you. Everything doesn't depend on your success or your failure. You have the support of someone else with the same goal. Think about when Jesus walked from place to place, what did he do? He spent a lot of time with his disciples. Lots of time breaking bread with even complete strangers. lots of time forming his closest 12, who were complete numbskulls, to be strong men who were all going to give their lives over as martyrs for him. And he wants to use the same model with you and me. We weren't made to go at life alone. So the question is, who is at your side as you work in the vineyard of the Lord? Is it your spouse? Is it other family members? Is it close friends? Is it people you work with? Is it other parishioners? People who are striving to also live godly lives. So this week I invite you to do a few things. First of all, please pray for Father Alex as he begins here. Please pray for me. He is my first associate, so I am learning how to do this. Pray for Nathan and Roy and for all of the seminarians who are preparing to serve the Lord in the future. But also, let's take some time this week to think about how the Lord is inviting you now to team up with others, even others in this parish, to share the saving action of Christ, to get out of that shell that is often up here, and to get out and to not be afraid to bring what Jesus has done for you and me to a world that needs him. There is strength in numbers. So let's capitalize on that strength and work together to share God's transformative grace with a world that desperately needs the connection and hope that only Christ can give. God bless you this week.